How's it going, guys? Welcome back to another video. So today I have another one of those community questions videos for you guys where I put a post on my community section on YouTube, and I usually leave it with a poll. People seem to like to vote on stuff a lot more than if it was just a normal question, but what I do is I put a question on and I said, if you could be in charge of Jagex for one day and change only one thing about RuneScape 3, what would you change? Now, of course, this is something that is just not obviously possible, but I thought it could make quite an interesting video to see what people would actually change in the game, see where they would go with it, and hear the thoughts from the community on things that they feel like could use a little bit of work. Or I know that a few of you guys literally commented stuff that would just benefit yourselves, like just yourselves, so that's absolutely kind of cool to see as well. So that's pretty much all I need to mention for the intro. If you enjoy the video, do leave a like on it, do subscribe if you're new to the channel. Let's take a look at all of your comments and see what would people change if they could change one thing and be in charge of Jagex for one day. I just wanted to quickly mention before we get started, I have actually recently started a clan in-game, and it is getting quite busy now. There's quite a lot of you guys already in there, but if you're interested in joining another part of the community, do some bossing with myself and some other people in the clan as well, and also just sort of have a nice chill place with no toxicity to hang out, then do guest in my clan called the Init and ask anyone in there that has a higher rank than recruit to be able to give you an invite. That is not a problem, they will get you invited. All players are welcome, whether you're a free-to-play or member, it doesn't matter, you're absolutely welcome. And we also do things like masters as well, which is what you're watching in the background. But anyway, let's get back to the video. Okay, so the first comment says, no death costs if you're below 10 kill count for a boss. This gives people the chance to learn a boss without constantly paying for trying their first few kills. This is a comment that got a lot of likes. We got 40 likes on this and 9 replies. This is just from a community post. This one was very, very popular, and I actually mentioned this in a recent video because another person commented it as well, and I actually thought this was such a good idea. So in old school RuneScape, for example, Zulrah actually has a set number of kills that you can go in for before there's actually any risk to your items or anything like that, and this is such a good idea for learning bosses. I didn't actually know this, as I don't really play old school very much at all, but when someone commented it, I thought this was such a good idea. And now this person as well has the same idea, it seems, and honestly, it is so damn good. I know that we have practice mode in the game, but this doesn't work for, say, group encounters where if you want to go and learn Angel of Death, for example, someone's commented this, saying that no one would want to join a AOD practice mode because why would you do that? It's a waste of time. There's that chance of getting that 800 mil drop and just no one's going to do it. So to do that, you're going to have to throw yourself in and just kind of hope that you don't die and don't lose loads of money. However, if any bosses whatsoever, this will be really cool. Practice mode doesn't give you any loot, which means it doesn't really give a lot of people incentive to go and spend lots of hours trying to kill a boss. If you had like free costs for the first 10 successful kills, if you can get 10 successful kills at a boss, you can probably continue on from that point. Getting 10 successful kills at Telos will probably be meaning that you can, around whatever enrage you got, you can probably keep doing that. Obviously, eventually you're going to have to push, but you've learned the mechanics at a low enrage, and if you want to push, then that's on your own head. For example, if you want to learn Araxor, if you get 10 kills at Araxor, I'm pretty certain that you can come back and kill Araxor consistently, depending on the enrage there as well. But this would be such a cool mechanic, and I think it would incentivize a lot of people to actually come and try bosses out and get into it. Just like the combat week had 0 death costs, a lot of people tried out new bosses. I think this would do the same thing, but year round. Our next comment says, I believe the best aspect to improve would be Jagex's communication with its community. Specifically the situation with ED3 bug abusers, Jagex had no public statements about even working on a fix for the bug or how they would handle it until over a year of people abusing it. Another situation will be when the client crashes were super prevalent, as well as server issues on populated worlds. Now, this is something that definitely does need work, and I'm not trying to call out Jagex. It seems like I do this quite a lot. I always seem to have something that I'm mentioning about it, but honestly, if it doesn't get said ever, then there's never going to be that sort of push or drive for improvement. And I'm not saying that my little subscriber channel is going to do much difference, but if it gets everyone talking and it gets more awareness on it, then you know what, it's not a bad thing. So the RS guy also talked about this very recently on the end of his Hardcore Iron Man video, where it sadly ended due to a disconnect at Telos, and he was so close to finishing his goal as well. That is just not good. Now, he was talking about the fact that the servers were unstable and Jagex knew they were unstable, and it took him getting on the phone and actually talking to them to get them to put a statement out. Now, it really shouldn't take someone to actually contact Jagex and say, look, you need to put a statement out for all these people, otherwise there's going to be issues, people losing their hardcores, all this sort of stuff. It's not good. Communication needs to be there. Now, even though he did this, it didn't make much difference, as the very next time it happened, which is when his hardcore died due to a disconnect, there was nothing. They didn't post anything up. They only did it the first time because he had been there to contact them and actually get them to do it. this should be a consistent thing. The second there's anything wrong with the servers, the players should be made aware. Whether it's just a random in-game message that spams every 2 minutes, or whether it's literally just a pop-up on the screen, or whether they do send out a tweet, even just a tweet or anything. This needs to be something that players are aware of, especially when they have game modes like Hardcore Iron Man. It really would go a long way if the communication was improved just a little bit, just to give out these little things like the messages and just pass stuff on. It won't take long, it doesn't take long at all just to put a little message somewhere, whether it's just a tweet even, and then players can pass it by word of mouth. It's something that they should be doing, and it should be consistent as well. Now, when he mentioned about the ED3 bug, I don't know whether they were aware of it. I assume they were aware of it because people were posting on Reddit for years, I believe, like 2 years or something. But definitely communication from Jagex could be done a lot better. But then at the same time, guys, we're actually pretty lucky to have the communication that Jagex give us. And I know you guys may be rolling your eyes right now, but there's some companies out there that are a lot worse, and rather than telling you nothing, they'll just feed you lies, and it just ends up even worse. Now, personally, I'm not going to say who this is, but it is a game that I used to play in the past, and the communication was absolutely ridiculous. They didn't tell you anything, and when they did, it was lies. It's just not good. Just be glad that Jagex actually do tell some stuff, and they do get on live stream once a week and give information that way. And when they do actually give information, at least as far as I know of, there's not any lies. They usually just tell you what actually is happening, so at least we can be thankful for that. Our next comment says, make a PvP world with slightly increased rare drop table rates, egg drops, and skilling pet rares. I assume by egg drops he means like boss pets and stuff like that, but I want PvP locked Hardcore Iron Man for content creators in RuneScape 3. That community is thriving in old school. Assemble a team to get Deadman mode seasonal set up by 2022. Now, I've never played Deadman mode in old school, so I'm not really sure how that would work, so I'll probably leave that one out in this one, even though it would be kind of cool to see something like that for RuneScape 3. Obviously, we used to have Darkscape, but that's gone now, so it'd be kind of interesting to see what they can think of. But make a PvP world. This would be really, really cool, and I would actually really enjoy this. I actually would probably be able to make so many videos using the PvP world, whether it was try and do certain challenges while on the PvP world, or try and do like boss logs, all that sort of stuff. There'd be so much more stuff we could actually do for that, and I feel like a lot of players would kind of enjoy it. But PvP in RuneScape 3 is something that needs a lot of work, definitely does need some work, needs some attention, and it feels like it's just been left, and I think it has just been left. I don't think they have much plans to try and bring it back, but it would be kind of cool if they could, because the random little duels that I do with friends here and there at wars or at the Grand Exchange and stuff are actually quite fun to do, and I would very much enjoy being able to do that with other players as well, but actually within the wilderness. And I know it kind of doesn't really make sense with the values of gear at the moment, seeing as no one's really going to use the expensive gear, since you can get pretty decent PvP gear for very, very cheap. If they just changed it so that there was a reward shop maybe, rather than just getting the other person's gear, and that way you could PvP without the risk of it, but you'd also have a good reward shop to actually get stuff from, whether you could unlock things like lamps, or whether you could unlock things like unique cosmetic overrides. That sort of thing would actually do really, really well. People love getting their cosmetics and stuff, and I feel like having actual PvP, like the wilderness PvP, where there's a specific world maybe for collecting all these reward points rather than just doing PvP to get other people's loot, I think that would be quite popular, and I think people would enjoy it as long as it was done properly. What do you guys think? Would you be interested in something like that? So our next comment says, I just adjust the death cost scaling for big ticket items. It's ridiculous to pay 15 mil if you die without your Ring of Death in Solak, for instance, just because a reclaim cost stops scaling after a certain price of said item. I just wanted to mention one more death cost one, just because it has been mentioned so many times, and I know that the very first comment was relative to this as well. However, this is sort of like a different direction of it, and it definitely does need looking at. The death cost is based on old version of the game, before items were worth over like 2 billion, 3 billion each, and before we took this many items to bosses. They've added so many switches and stuff that when you die now with all the extra gear that you've got, the death costs are absolutely insane. Of course, you don't need to take all those item switches to a boss, but it just makes it more efficient, it makes more sense, it makes it easier for people, so it just makes sense to take them. So many people are mentioning the death costs, and I do see the comments, and I am including them here, but I'm not going to be including any more of them because they are pretty much the same thing. Just we definitely do need death costs taking a look at, and maybe updating to something more new, because I know a lot of people do actually get put off by this. It's just it's just not very appealing knowing that you're going to be trying to learn a boss, and even if you do practice mode, once you've figured it out and you want to go back and do it properly, and you're still not 100% on actually doing the boss, when you die, there's so much money to lose. It actually kind of hurts. Our next comment says, I'd sell it to a company who cares about the game. This is a short comment, very, very short comment, but honestly, it is possibly my favorite comment out of the whole lot. And I'm not saying that Jagex don't care about the game, because Jagex, like the mods and the people who are making the game, they obviously care about it. They spend a lot of time and effort into the game, but I assume what he's meaning is the investors. Now, I honestly could go on about this for a full video, so let me know in the comments if you're interested in hearing what my opinion is on the investors, and obviously the way the RuneScape's being used to make money at the moment, along with the issues that it does have, having investors making pretty much all the decisions with where the money goes. Of course, that is how life is. That's just life. The investors invest the money into it. They want to know where the money's going. They want the money to go where they see the greatest return. This is probably an issue with things like these servers. The servers are probably never going to get updated. They're probably never going to get the big money investment that it's going to take to get the servers running like smoothly and stable consistently, because unless an investor is willing to stick around for the long term, and by long term I probably mean like another 10 to 15 years, they're not going to see a big return on that investment. They're going to be fixing the problem for the next people, and that just doesn't make sense from a business point of view. The investors are in this for money. They are in this because they see a great opportunity to make money back, and that's what investing is. So it doesn't make sense for them to dump like millions and millions into new servers, which are only going to be a slow return, as more people will be able to stick around and not get stressed out by it. But like I say, this is a long-term investment, and unless there's someone who actually cares about the game that they're investing in, they just want, this is it, they want the game, they want it, they don't want to give it to anyone else, they don't want to sell it in 5 years, they don't want to sell it in 10 years. That's the sort of person that they would need probably to invest the money into the servers to make it work. Someone who has loads of money, isn't worried about getting the money back straight away, knows that eventually it's going to pay back itself and it will come back, but it's going to take a long time. That's the sort of people that this guy, I assume, is talking about. However, it's just probably not going to happen like that, because that's not how investors work, and that's not how life works, and that's fair enough. That's completely understandable. It'd just be nice, wouldn't it? The next comment says, I would fix the loot share system to work as player based, so that if I go loot share with a new friend, we get equal chances of getting a drop. Many times it's frustrating that someone misses a big drop by doing loot share with someone else, then goes group bossing with other players and just steals all the drops, even though the other players weren't with him when he actually got the big drop. Now this is something that is actually really great timing for you to mention. Honestly, we did a clan mass the other day at Nex, and my loot share potential was absolutely great because I had just been doing Nex with my partner, and we will use loot share so that she can get charms half of the time. Now, she got a Torva plate body drop, which meant I had 150 mil worth of loot share potential that I had to get back onto my account somewhere. This meant in this mass, if I had loot share on, I got every single drop. No matter what, the drops were coming to me. I had to literally toggle loot share on and off throughout this whole fight. I would leave it on for 1 kill, leave it off for 3, leave it on for 1, leave it off for 3, just so that everyone else could actually get some loot. Everybody else was missing out on any loot whatsoever, just because I personally had missed out on 1 Torva plate body with just my partner just in the duo at Nex. You could technically do this with an alt account. You could quite easily go to Nex, loot share, go in with an alt account, literally carry that alt through Nex, because you can easily solo Nex while you've got another account just following yours. It's definitely something you could do. Make sure that your account has really high loot share potential, and then you could head off somewhere and loot share a mass somewhere, and you'll be getting the drops just fed to you. Now, what this person is saying is have it based on just player based. So if you go to loot share with, say, 1 person, it is only with that 1 person that you have to make up that 150 mil back. This makes full sense because they've had that drop. However, there's still an issue with this as well. If you want to loot share so that people can get charms, but you also want to split big drops, because why wouldn't you split a Torva plate body with someone that you're duoing with? Then you still screwed over your loot share potential, and you still have to split your drop. This isn't very good, is it? It'd be nice if we could have a loot split option as well, which is kind of like the coin share option, which gives shards. However, rather than just giving the shards, we could just tick it, and that way if a big drop does drop, loot share potential is not changed. It doesn't change. It is basically telling the game that you are going to split this drop. It doesn't matter who got it, it is going to be split, so don't affect loot share potential. This is one thing that could be done. The other thing would be to get everybody's shards together and combine the item and sell it that way. I'm not sure how that would work too well in a big mass, but I feel like things like this could be looked at. Loot share and things relevant to bossing with people that you don't know and making it a lot more safer, a lot more enjoyable experience is definitely something that would go a long way in my opinion. Alright, so I'm going to leave that as the last comment because these ones were actually quite long to talk about, and there is so many comments. There's no way I can go through all of them. I wish I could. I wish I could sit down and just read every single comment, but I don't think you guys would be too interested in that. I don't think the watch time on that would be that great, so we'll just have to keep doing how we're doing. Hopefully you guys are enjoying these videos. I think you are, because you're all getting involved in the comments a hell of a lot more. I assume that's because you guys are aware of what they're for now, and also the videos are doing really well. I'm absolutely buzzing that you guys are actually this into these videos, because they're easy to make. In all honesty, they're really easy to make, but they're also really enjoyable to make, and I get to include you guys in my videos, so I love it. It's absolutely great. If you do enjoy, make sure to leave a like on it. Leave me a comment down below letting me know about anything that you thought throughout the video on each of these comments, and also leave me a comment to let me know if you do actually enjoy these videos. If you're new to the channel, do subscribe, and as always, I really appreciate you all watching, so thank you very much, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you later, guys. Bye.